I'm honestly actually just gonna start awarding myself gold stars for keeping this up, because every week I upload a video is a victory for me, because YouTube videos do stress me out. But here we are. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rebecca Felgate. If you've joined me after my crazy era, then you probably just know me as the person who really inconsistently uploads videos to YouTube. But some of you might know me from a channel I used to work at that was a behemoth of a YouTube channel, very big, and I left. Which brings me on to today's topic, which is the downsides, the real downsides of being a YouTuber. But before we get into that, I think we're gonna need a drink, and I wanna make it a strong one. So there we have it, we have a Blackberry Starkey Martini. Cheers. Oh, it's a good one. Again, the key with the Martini is just, it's gotta be really cold. Oh, so good, I'm gonna have another sip. This is unprecedented. Yum. Again, before I get into the video, a lot of people do ask me what I'm up to now, and I guess the whole reason for the drink thing there is that I am a drinkstagrammer. If you want to see what cocktails I'm creating on Instagram, I always make sassy reels. I live in Toronto, I talk about that a lot. Please do follow me at Miss Rebecca J, especially if you live in Canada, because I'm always loving talking about my favourite place to people. But wherever you are, also okay. Okay, so the newsletter I sent out last week was about me feeling uncomfortable with the fact that I have a big observable history on YouTube, and the fact that I can't really get rid of that. And that's something that I will talk about much deeper in this video. And a lot of you may know that I have written a book, and I'm looking for a book agent and publisher right now, and it very much covers that. But just as a little, I guess, precursor to that literary text, I wanted to let you know a few of the downsides of being a YouTuber, because I think that the upsides are very well documented. Yes, obviously, it is a path to fame and fortune and some kind of professional autonomy, but I think that sometimes, like with everything, looks really can make something seem really great. And I'm not here to say that it isn't. There are definitely a lot of upsides, but I don't think that there are many former YouTubers sitting here telling you some of the really hard parts about being a YouTuber. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I worked on a YouTube channel for 4 years in the end, and so I know very much what that was like. I worked mostly 5 days a week, so it was my full-time job to be a YouTuber, and when that happened for me, a lot of people older were confused about that being a career path, and a lot of younger people were very excited. And if you are watching this and you do want to be a YouTuber, perhaps you'll learn a few lessons here. So the biggest downside to being a YouTuber is perhaps something that you would have heard about. It relates to creator burnout, and I'm gonna go into what that means. So uploading YouTube videos is extremely time consuming. I work for myself, so in theory, you would think that I would have the time to make a YouTube video every week, but actually the process of making a YouTube video, even for a conversational channel like this, it's probably around a 5-hour investment. And that's nearly a full day's work, and that's for one video a week. And actually, I guess it can be even more than that, because the preparing, the filming is one thing, and the editing is the major thing, then the actual upload to the YouTube channel, the making of the thumbnail, the getting the tags right, like it's a really lengthy process, and something that I don't think that you can really do professionally unless you have a team, which does make it a bit easier. But even then, creating YouTube videos is just a long process. So for my channel, it might be about 5 hours, but for the channel I used to work for, the scripting time would be about 3 hours. I don't know exactly how long the editing time was, because I didn't edit the videos there, but I think it was at least 3 hours. And then there's the upload and the thumbnail and all of that kind of stuff. So you're probably looking at about 7 hours per video. Bearing in mind that that channel is putting out 3 videos a day, it really is a lot of work. And the times I'm giving you there are like absolute speed efficient times. The fact that putting up a YouTube video is so time consuming has a real knock-on effect for people that are creating YouTube videos as a full-time business, because obviously to be a good business person, you want to cut your overheads, so you don't want things to take too much time. But this means that something along the way has to be sacrificed, and generally, observably across YouTube as an entire platform, I really feel like the difference between it and mainstream media is quality and research. Because if you've only got, for example, a few hours to script a video and research a video because you've got to get them out quickly, like, I'm concerned that it means that people might be more inclined to sacrifice the integrity behind content. And it's like a fine line to balance, and it's not one that I really enjoy dabbling in. I know you could ask my friend Jack Finch, who has a horror channel, and he's only able to put out one video a month because of the amount of time that he wants to spend researching his videos. So obviously he's opted for quality, but he's only able to create one a month, which wouldn't work necessarily as a business strategy. There are channels out there that get away with putting out one video every so often, e.g. one a week, and they might get millions of views. But even then, views equal money, and if you're putting out more videos, then it's likely that you're going to be making more money. So it's really hard, and personally I'm uncomfortable with the sacrifice on research time. It's something that a lot of people don't think about as well, like having to make that kind of sacrifice. So the upload schedule can be grueling. I only upload once a week, and even for me that genuinely has an impact on my life. Like Saturday mornings or afternoons when the video is going up, like even if I get somebody to edit my video for me and that pressure has been taken off, I still have to be available for hours to set the video uploading and to do all of the back end stuff. And that can be really, really, really disruptive in your day. And I just don't like, if people want to make plans for me on a Saturday morning, I have to factor in what I'm doing with my YouTube video. And imagine if you're uploading 3 times a day. It just means that personally you might not be as flexible as you want to be, which is funny because I think that a lot of people think that YouTubers are like totally flexible, and that's just not the case. As people start to get bigger on YouTube, something that I really don't like is that it becomes very much a numbers game. Numbers can be social currency. So for example, I went to a lot of big events as a YouTuber when I worked on the big channel, and people would judge whether or not they wanted to talk to you based on how many subscribers you have. So obviously on my channel now I have 126,000, which might sound like a lot to your average person, but at these conventions it would mean that nobody spoke to me. And even when the channel that I used to work on had like 1 or 2 million, people were not interested in chatting. Like only when you hit those really big numbers did people really care. And I find that gross. Like day to day on a more pedestrian level, I find it really gross too, because as I spoke about, you might be putting a bit of research into something or you might not, but ultimately a video is often judged as a success if it got a lot of views, and that does not always correlate to the amount of heart and soul you put into a video. You could have spent ages researching something, made sure it was a top quality video, but if your title and thumbnail weren't quite right or it didn't quite catch the attention of the algorithm in the right way, that video won't be considered as higher value as something that might have been really poor but managed to get there in the algorithm. And I hate that. I don't find that YouTube is a platform that premieres quality. It obviously is a platform that's majorly run by an algorithm, and I feel like the robots don't know if something is of high quality. They just don't. And obviously comments, likes and shares and things like that do speak for it, but initial success, yeah, the algorithm doesn't know. Okay, speaking of the algorithm, I spoke about how being a YouTuber can mean that you're not quite as flexible as you want to be because you're quite beholden to uploading a video at certain times of day. That really is something that becomes a problem. If you're really in the YouTube game, you've got to be regular and consistent with your uploads, and as individuals, that's actually something that's really, really, really hard to do, and another reason why you do actually need to do it as part of a team. So, for example, you can't just upload a video when you feel like it because you've made something good. Now I'm pretty stuck to having to upload on a Saturday, and if you're a person that uploaded 3 times a week, you would need to make those videos uploadable on the same days and around the same times, which means the algorithm learns a little bit more about what kind of content you create and when to put it out. So if you deviate from that, your videos aren't going to do as well, but that makes you really, really, really beholden to a schedule. And my main problem with the algorithm is that if content that you make in a certain genre starts performing well, you're quite beholden to that genre for, I want to say, the rest of time, which is how channels get really, really pigeonholed. For example, there was a time a few years ago where I was making Harry Potter content. Now, I do like it, but it isn't honestly my number one main interest in life. I've got many, many, many interests, but my Harry Potter videos went the best. So then every time I made another Harry Potter video, it would go really well. And then that's how I got stuck down one particular trajectory. And that obviously makes real business sense. But if you are uploading to YouTube as a creative platform, as like an artist or a creative, that can be really, really frustrating. For me, I know that I've got a lot of interest and I'd like to talk about a lot of things, but you just can't really, or you can, but you're not going to be making a lot of money from YouTube. So it's up to you. And again, I've already talked about how long things take. Bearing in mind, like from 1 million views, you might only get $1,000 to $2,000. It's a lot of work for not necessarily a lot of reward, and I just don't think people really realize that. So if you are doing one specific type of thing, it can get so monotonous. You just like want to bang your head against a wall doing the same thing over and over again, and honestly, that's no way to live. You probably started your YouTube channel because you thought it was going to be a really creative outlet for you, but then you're stuck making the same type of video, and like, I get it, like, that's business, but also that's a one-way ticket to like the madhouse. Well, another little sip of my drink here. Okay, getting more into the human-facing aspect of YouTube that can be really frustrating, the comment section. So I worked on the big YouTube channel for 4 years, and I joined that channel when I was 26. And I was a grown woman who knew myself, but the comment section was brutal and cutting even to me, even to a person who was very well educated and knew better and understood that these were trolls out there trying to hurt me, but it still cut. My body was different when I joined the YouTube channel I used to work for, and people would call me chubby a lot and fat and make a lot of very intense comments about my personal appearance, and it isn't something I'm gonna really massively go into in this video, but like psychologically, even as an adult, that really hurt me and changed the way I behaved, and it shouldn't have had the power to do that. And like I said, I was an adult. I can't imagine how that kind of feedback would cut somebody younger and more impressionable, and I think that that's disgusting. The online bullying that comes from being a YouTube creator is very intense. The channel that I worked for, over the course of the 4 years, I'm not even exaggerating, there were probably hundreds of thousands of horrible comments directed my way. And that does something to a person. And even if it's on a localized scale, for a small channel, for a small creator, a teenager making a video in their bedroom, like, it's nasty. And internet anonymity allows for that, and that just doesn't happen on television. And okay, being mean about my appearance and calling me fat is one thing, but like, a lot of people would say really, really toxic things and life-threatening things or make threats like that, and it just never sat well with me. Beyond that, things got pretty inappropriate at times. People would leave really objectifying comments, and that's one thing, but having fans is a really weird but cool part of being in the public eye on YouTube. But I guess the fact that it is exposed to like a mass audience who doesn't have to pay for content, they're just there, means that anyone, I guess, could in theory become a big fan of you. And I have been on the receiving end of some like scary and obsessive people, and by and large I'm extremely appreciative of everyone who likes me, of course, and I've got a lot of really nice fans, and that's made my life better in lots of ways. But there have been people that have like sexually threatened me, or will send me unsolicited dick pics via Instagram or email and stuff like that, and I find it a lot. And I remember an early part of my YouTube career, I sort of sparked the imagination of the foot fetish community, which at the time I didn't really take seriously. I thought it was a bit of a joke, but then they ended up getting really angry at me when I sort of made a spoof green alien foot video, and I didn't really get it, and I've stumbled across some Reddit content about me that makes me feel pretty uneasy, and the disrespectful way that people will talk about me is terrifying. Also, when I worked at the film studio, we caught the attention of a bit of a stalker, and that made me feel really unsafe. So yeah, being a YouTuber opens you up to a lot of abuse, and it's not even about having a thick skin. That's just a very terrifying place to be in. Another issue with the public side of things is that YouTube generally is a platform for quite a lot of drama. I am actually not that dramatic a person, and some of the ways that people would play it on YouTube would just stress me out. Everything was really like playing to the gallery, and everything was so high octane, and I just like really consider myself kind of a normal person that loves a cocktail and like I enjoy a good party or whatever, but like I don't know, the way that people would over dramatize things on YouTube just really stressed me out, especially now as a woman in my early 30s. Like, I'm not a child. Do we have to act that way? Why is everything got to be like shocked faces and just real high intensity? I found it really exhausting, and after 4 years it was just something I couldn't handle anymore. I really needed to distance myself from that kind of like real over emotion associated with the YouTube platform. Again, on the human front, I guess, is the lack of humans. So when things go wrong on YouTube, it's very difficult to get in touch with YouTube themselves. I remember on the channel that I used to work for, things would get demonetized or would be flagged, they'd get struck, and it would be really difficult to get hold of anyone at YouTube. And when that's your business, like, that's a real concern. You need to be able to speak to someone, especially when there's been an error, and countlessly there were errors, and often there'd be times where channels would be down, maybe even sometimes for a whole day, and that is, like I said, if you're doing this big, a whole business, and that's just not cool. And sometimes there's no rhyme or reason as to why things get demonetized, and the fact that you can't reason with a human is just a big problem. Even for me, my channel got struck by a nefarious character last year, and it took a month for me to sort that out with YouTube. And this isn't my full-time business, but it really messed up the rankings of my YouTube channel. So if you can imagine what that's like, if that's something that you rely on to earn a living, like, it's just a nightmare. Lastly, for now, I find it so weird and stressful that things that I've done on YouTube, content I've created, is somewhat immortalized. So obviously I can delete things from my own channel, but that being said, people could have downloaded it before I deleted it, or anything like that. It's in some kind of cache somewhere. But obviously I used to work for a bigger YouTube channel, and I don't own the rights to those videos, and I wouldn't ask them to take them down or whatever anyway. But it is weird to me that I can watch a video that I created, I guess it will be coming up 6 years ago in the autumn, and that just is a different era of me. And it, for me, is really weird because YouTube is something that I've actually like taken quite a big step back from. But if a new person in my life met me, they could Google me and see what I looked like in 2015 and like see the insecure Rebecca and watch it all explode and implode the way it all did. And I like that is like a legacy that I'm a bit uncomfortable with. Like, I want to be in control of my own history, and like I'm not. And I guess that's something that comes with like fame as a wider concept. Yeah, it's really strange to me that no matter what I do now, because of a decision I made when I was 26 to work on something that seemed really cool at the time, that's now something that's on the internet forever. And yeah, not to repeat myself, but like, that's so weird. Like, there's no blank slate for me. There's just the things that I do from now on, and I hope that they're bigger and I can't go back and I can't delete it. And yeah, it's problematic for me. So I know that was quite a long video. I need another sip of my cocktail, but I just really wanted to give you like a bit of a deeper insight into what it's actually like, because I don't think that many people out there know, and those who do know, like, they're still living it, so they don't talk about it. Obviously, I'm quite aware that I wouldn't be where I am now if I hadn't have worked on a big YouTube channel. So I'm grateful in many ways, and I don't think regrets are particularly helpful, but I think it's like something that I wish I'd gone into with my eyes wider open. So if you are thinking about pursuing a career as a YouTuber, I hope you find this video helpful to know that some of the things that you might have to expect, because I didn't know what to expect, and in some ways that really knocked me sideways because I was quite naive going into it all. But anyway, onwards. I'll keep you updated with my book. I'm so excited to share it with you one day, because I really go into like every area that I just spoke about there, into personal detail about how it affected me and where it's left me now years later. If you want a bit more of my kind of like insights and stuff, then please do sign up to my newsletter. If you're interested in my drinks, then please do follow me on Instagram. I also do share a lot of stories of me just like talking every day, if that's for you. And if you like this video, then please do leave a thumbs up and let me know the kind of content you want to see in the future, because I'm all ears. So that's that. Cheers! Except to you know who. No cheers for you.